At the very core of this build is an interrupt support, party support build having quite nice DPS. This build is low on defenses but can survive mostly because of mobility and using control conditions upon your enemies. Control conditions. Chills from Sigils of Hydromancy. Weakness from Debilitating Dissipation. From Chaotic Interruption. Immobilize is guaranteed and either chills, cripples or blinds. Because of this, you want to be using plus 40% condition duration food. And condition duration is not used really for more damage from bleeds or burns from staff clones, even if this comes into play as well, but mostly to control your enemies with control conditions. Wounds of the Traveler, combined with plus 40%, give you plus 50% condition duration, which is good because of how Gw2 rounds condition duration values. You are using Berserker armor, Celestial weapons, this is a Celestial Mixin, and Berserker trinkets. Now, because of a controversy which comes from the critical damage and to ferocity changes, you might consider not making Celestial Mixins, but going Berserker all the way. Well, for now I've got what I have and I'm not going to change it, at least not before I see the changes. Now let's see the traits and how they work. First of all, Chaotic Interruption combined with Bountiful Interruption. At every interrupt, you generate more mites, much more mites, and other boons which greatly enhance your survival. Chaotic Interruption provides you with rooting enemies in one spot, being the insidious trait it is. Your enemies will get immobilized and might get chilled. Combination of immobilize and chill is a killer for most enemies, and they tend to panic that way. Notice that there is fury in Bountiful Interruption line as much as vigor or swiftness or regeneration protection. This is a very powerful trait really. So this is an interrupt part of the build. You are able to interrupt either using this Temporal Curtain or this Chaos Storm. Chaos Storm is a very powerful tool for interrupt, because it procs several times upon several enemies. So especially with Chill, which slows down enemy animations, you are able to proc quite a lot of times with it. Alright, back to the traits. Far-reaching manipulations to be able to blink longer range, especially combined with phase retreat to be able to really create a distance between you and enemies. Especially useful in party situation when you can break the combat, heal and return. Deceptive evasion to create clones, either to shatter with Mind Drag, Distortion and Diversion, or to be able to apply one of those conditions from Debilitating Dissipation. Most important one is weakness, but bleeds can deal quite nice damage in this setup as well. Here, Inspiration has Mender's Purity and Warden's Feedback. Mender's deals with long null-filled cooldown and removes conditions, and Feedback to reflect enemy projectiles, and to have more access to focus, like pulls and casting Wardens in time. Wardens feed perfectly into sharper images as well. So how does camp capture look like in this build? Much better than I expected, to be honest. First thing you want to do is to stack your enemies in one spot, then to use curtain detonation in such a way to generate as many interrupts as possible. Warden failed, so weapon swap and Chaos Storm. Chills not only deal damage, it slows down the animations so I can interrupt more. And Chaos Storm generates more mites and deals damage to them. My damage is much lower than it should be because I was under weakness. This condition is really devastating. Combination of my own chill and weakness and the Chaos Storm means I am able to fight them face to face, not worrying of them hurting me too much. And this is how this build works against camps and towers. In this fifth fight I have made many mistakes, but it can still be informative. The curtain is a double denial tool. He can't attack me or I will pull him, he can't fire at me because I will reflect it. Chill slows him down so I don't have to play as twitchy. I am trying to fight inside the null field so he will drop the boons he received from stealing from me and to drop conditions from me as well. When he attacked me in Chaos Storm he got interrupted twice, so he got a lot of immobilized, chills and some bleeds and my swords. If he did not have withdrawal slotted, he would be down already. Seeing as I am in good situation, I have broken the mass invisibility and went offense. Once again, Chilled messed his rotation and I forced him to escape. When the Shadow Refuge came up, I've decided to drop the Hydromancy to lose the blind and chill, to be able to curtain pull him from the Shadow Refuge. Alas, it was on cooldown. What you see, the build I'm using lacks a burst option. I can't be defeated easily, but I can't execute my enemy. A mistake made here: when enemy got stunned in smoke field, I should have used null field and attacked him with first sword and then hydromancy. Sadly, I didn't think of it. And this is how we parted. The fight is over. In this video I protect the camp against two very tanky guardians with stability, something extremely irritating to face. There is no physical way for me to defeat two tanky guardians alone. They will simply out-heal me or res each other too well. To be able to win, I need to play very aggressively and utilize the DPS of the camp itself. The key is not to panic, to wait while they are out of stability and attack then using interrupts and chills. Because let's be honest, a chilled tanky guardian deals no DPS at all. He is no danger. As you can see, between blocks and heals, it doesn't seem as if I deal any damage to them, even if I am in Berserker, but to be honest, I am dealing them high damage simply because they have cooldowns as well. And between phantasms, focusing fire and shattering, I am able to down one enemy. Now, situation starts to be more interesting. An enemy tries to resurrect his fallen ally, but I am able to curtain interrupt him and immobilize him, which buys me time. Notice, he can't damage me sufficiently enough, so I have problems with stomping his ally. This is why I can't really recommend going full defensive in all party mates. I mean, not in roaming. A warrior from the third party appears. The guardian decides it is not really a good fight for him, so he escapes, while I face the warrior. Warrior skills have visible tells, so I am able to phase retreat or blink away when he immobilizes me or when he tries to charge me. When I eventually made a mistake, I was able to use a distortion shutter and mass invisibility to reassess the situation, buy me distance and return to the fight. I mean, this is my camp. This fight shows a major weaknesses of the classes which use only short-ranged weapons, like this warrior or those guardians. As long as I have phase retreat or dodges or blink, they can't pin me down. Chaos Storm was used to generate boons for me, then Weapon Swap to chill the warrior, and Blood Frenzy to damage him and to protect myself from the hit. I am low on hit points and enemy is far away from me, so Signet of Domination buys me 3 seconds in which I can heal. He's low on defenses, so he had to use his panic buttons. I have clones Fast and Shatter, so I win. An evil combination is to use Blink offensively to teleport into your enemies and use Swap to get Hydromancy. Bonus points if you can immobilize them and use Chaos Storm on top of them. If you manage to generate sufficient amount of mites using your interrupts, you will be able to deal enormous damage with Sword 1. If you are in a party, your enemies will be demoralized and will start to panic, seeing everyone getting down very fast. Chaos Storm buffs your allies and Chaos Armour allows you to take some hits without being killed. About catching your enemies, you have some tools at your disposal. You've got immobilizes from interrupts, you have chills to slow them down, and you have Signet of Domination of course, but you don't have any hard way of stopping your enemies, and definitely not to destroy them. Players tend to hate control conditions, and I have never seen as many rage quits from fighting me as since I've started playing this particular build. Notice that using control, very heavy control in whole team, we have managed to shatter a small group of a commander whose fate is right now sealed as well. So, in a party situation, the goal of this build is to be a disruption in enemy ranks. You will be able to deal a lot of controlling conditions and to engage a lot of enemies, not necessarily killing them, to buy time for your allies to execute others. At the same time, your damage will be noticeable, but you will not be the person who will execute the most, or who will be the main DPS in a group. Chills without immobilize will be used mostly to force enemy to dodge to waste dodges. Chill with immobilize will make primary targets to kill fast. And if you are focused, you can always teleport far away to reassess the situation. You should be that annoying Mesmer who nobody really wants to attack because you will run away and they can't catch you, but at the same time they can't ignore you because you will disrupt the ranks and the forces. After long-range teleports, you will be able to find enemies at outskirts, for example Mesmers, and try to hurt them a lot. If you see a dangerous class, like for example a Necro, you will be able to use Signet of Domination to stun him to buy some time. Your survivability lies in two things. First, mobility, which comes from stuff and from the long-range blink. It is extremely hard to pin you down when you are using sword 3 to move, stuff 2 to move, and blink. Another thing which gives you a lot of survivability is Chaos Armor. Chaos Armor doesn't seem very powerful, but it really is. Not only it gives you boons, but also it converts 1/3 of enemy attacks into blinds for them. Not to mention cripples and confusion, while you are in mobility build, so you can move fast. You've got a base of 45% boon duration, so every boon you get from Chaos Storm, every boon you get from Bountiful Interruption is used very well here. Here I made a mistake. I should have pulled them down from that place to make them come to us to be able to kill them, not the warrior. I mean, it's always easier to kill a Mesmer and a ranger than a warrior. Now the fight will become far more exciting because enemies are converging and they are trying to catch us to come as one group, not as small groups we can kill easily. Although I was able to use a Chaos Storm, Blink, Swap, basic disruption combo I have shown in the previous clip, to really deal damage to enemies I needed Alaric on his Elementalist and the rest of the team. This has left them with 2 downs and this forced their hand to move faster. As one of the downs is near me, I am using Nullfield as an area denial tool to be able to generate Chaos Armor whenever needed, and to be able to drain boons from enemies and eventual conditions from me. Banner made it impossible to stomp an enemy and I got launched, so I used this launch to propel myself even further from enemy using phase retreat and then blink. This made it so that I was not a target anymore and I could assist Sol in stomping by casting Chaos Storm. Now, there is this moment when there are a bit too many enemies for us and we don't have TeamSpeak, so we can't really decide what to do now dynamically. We got a bit lost and we could not communicate very well because you can't type fast in situations like this. Well, for next time we'll have to devise some kind of strategy when something like this happens. Anyway, I think you see how this build works right now, what it is and what it isn't. The most important thing it is not a DPS build. You will be able to deal quite nice damage, I think you have seen that, but this damage is a secondary thing. It is not a burst, you will not be able to execute an enemy easily. You will have to ensnare him, entangle him, and to be able to do something with him afterwards, after you do this. This is a party build, because if you are able to stop an enemy using control, your party mates will be able to execute them. This build allows you to survive surprisingly well in party situations simply because of mobility and the chills and cripples which work very well in the mobility build. I like it because I am a support control player at heart. If you play this one, I think you might like it too. Thank you for watching.